People are seeking happiness, but if you want to be happy, just sit in front of the TV and eat junk food. That will make you happy. The hard stuff is what's going to be fulfilling.
I'm Dr. Corrie Block. I could help you live a more meaningful life without making any major changes to it.
What qualifies you to be where you are today?
Curiosity. I'm a kid in a candy store every day. I've started and exited 5 of my own companies. I've crossed the $1 million mark 3 times. The question I get most often is not why, but how. We live in the most abundant time in all of human history. We have too many opportunities, too many conveniences, too much comfort. And I think actually the abundance is what's killing us. Empathy and leadership, belonging, shared values, psychological safety. We're talking about all that stuff. But the highest form of all of them is love, and we don't talk about that.
Because I think productivity stops if there's love.
It's the opposite. When people feel loved by the people that they're working with and the people that they're working for, they are more productive. Humans need to feel safe, they need to feel secure, they need to feel connected with the people that they're with, and they don't care most of the time what they're doing for work, as long as they care why they're doing it and who they're with.
Gladiators, welcome back to this edition of Gladiator Mastery podcast. It's an honor to have Dr. Corrie Block here today. I met him not long ago, but then he actually captured me with his knowledge of business, how he inspired the listeners on their day. So I asked him to join me today for the next hour. Hopefully he's going to definitely he's going to enlighten us and teach us lots of things. And I'm going to leave this podcast much more wealthier human being than I started. So
Good.
Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate you saying that, because my big passion is just to mess with people's heads as much as I can.
And that's good.
It's
right?
fun. It's fun.
Through messing with people's head, growth comes through.
That's true. Yeah, I just think, look, we're meaning creating machines as humans. We've got 1 million years of history in creating meaning and curating meaning for ourselves. And I think we can do a much better job of that if we're encouraged in the right way.
Yes.
So if I'm master of anything, it's the curation of meaning.
We're going to come to that. I've got so many questions to ask you because...
Where do you want to start?
Okay, what qualifies you to be where you are today? Share your journey, please.
What qualifies me? Yeah. Curiosity. I think since I was a child, I've collected competencies, and that has been my addiction.
When you say collecting competencies, what do you mean?
I mean learning things. I become intensely curious about something, and I follow it until I get a PhD or a certification, or I write a book. So if anybody looked at my LinkedIn profile, you'll see like it's a week long. It's horrible. And the question I get most often when people review it is not why, but how. Mm-hmm. How can you have done all of this while working full-time, raising kids? I've lived 8 years in Estonia, 5 years in Yemen. I've started and exited 5 of my own companies. I've buried 2 others. I've been bankrupt twice and crossed the $1 million mark 3 times in my life already. And people ask me all the time, how do you do it? Well, I'm just addicted to competencies. And
you still keep a smile on your face, right?
Yeah,
you're
look,
optimistic and you're positive. And
why wouldn't I be? We live in the most abundant time in all of human history. None of our ancestors had this level of opportunity, this level of healthcare, communications, transportation, technology opportunities that are in front of us now. None of our ancestors. Well, it's also kind of a catch.
The knowledge at the tip of our fingers, right?
Yes, the access to information. So for me, I'm a kid in a candy store every day. I did my first PhD when the digitalization of libraries was just taking place in the mid-2000s. And then suddenly all of these texts that were never accessible unless you flew from one library to another were accessible from anywhere. So I could do...
In a candy store.
Oh, it was genius. Absolutely genius. So I just became like incessant.
Your accent's American, Canadian?
I'm Canadian, but Thanks for that. That hurt. I'll cry about it later.
I did change it very quickly. I've just come back from Toronto. I love Canada. I bought an apartment in Toronto.
Oh, no way. That's amazing. Good for you.
So
Good for
it's
you.
off plan, but you're in a couple of years. But the prices are shooting up in Canada.
It's true.
But
yeah,
the
it's true.
economy is not doing great. But anyway, that's another. But it's a rich country, right?
It is. Yeah, we've got like a third of the world's fresh water, and I think that's going to become important in the next 50 years.
Exactly. Yeah, I wonder which war is going to start. Trump's going to go in and say, I own the southern side of these lakes. Yeah. So education-wise, you say you have PhDs and doctorates and so forth. But at school, as a child, were you really smart?
I was, but nobody knew it, including me. So we didn't really have advanced placement at the time. I skipped 100 days of my high school, and I graduated with honors, and that really irritated the principal. And my math teachers and my English teachers were really irritated with me because I would just not show up to class. Yeah, I didn't put any effort in, and I would still do well.
And your parents were good with it, or they knew you were skiving?
They didn't know mostly that I was.
So you were highly smart yet naughty.
Correct. Yeah, I was smart and naughty. So I'm glad that I ended up on like the light side rather than the dark
Yes.
side, because I think I would have been a terrible villain.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then I went to college. It was boring. I dropped out after a year. I still don't have an undergraduate degree. So I wasn't, through all of my early 20s, I was just consuming books. I just read
So those
voraciously
100
everything.
days you didn't go to school. You were reading, or you were
Yeah, a lot of it
or
I was reading, and I spent a good deal of time actually coaching. It wasn't called coaching then. I was counseling my friends. They, they were going through issues in their personal lives with their parents, with their job, whatever. And I would say, hey, let's skip school. Let's go for coffee. I'll take you for coffee, and we had
The
a.
question is, did you pay for coffee or they did?
They did usually, yeah.
Good.
I would
So
get a
you-
free
so
coffee
you
and an
were- so you're
educational
commercially
conversation.
minded then.
100%,
There's lots
yeah.
of people who help. Don't commercialize it, right?
No, I
A lot of
would.
people
Yes,
help and they're all skint.
yeah, I would get
I'm
a
the
free
idiot
coffee.
who buys the coffee as well.
That's right. I would get an education.
Let me
and free
help
coffee.
you and buy you a coffee. God,
No, but it's
thanks.
really, for me, it was fun, but I didn't realize what was going on at that time. For me, I was just bored. And I didn't know until actually I was 26. I started my first master's degree. And that wasn't because I wanted it. I didn't want to go back to school. My mentors, I had coaches back then. We didn't call them coaches. I just called them business guys that were more experienced than I. That
Did you approach them?
yeah. And hey, can I take you out for lunch? Can we spend some time together? I just need your advice.
And
And
a kid in the early 20s or late teens, right?
I was
Approaching-
23 when I moved to Estonia, right? I was already the inventory manager for the largest window manufacturing company in Canada. And I was controlling about $40 million in inventory. And I moved the whole organization to JIT, which was great, but it was just sort of made sense to me. I didn't get any education in that. The owner loved me, and he hated it that I resigned when I was 23 to move to the other side of the world. I just wanted
why Talent.
Tallinn. Yeah. Both of my kids were born there, and I started my
So
first
your
5
wife
organizations
is,
there.
Estonian.
No, my ex-wife, my first wife, also Canadian. She came with me.
Why Estonia?
Well,
I love that region. I love
that's-
Riga. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite cities.
Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely
Yes.
beautiful. They had actually in the region, they had the only Western restaurant when we moved there in 1998. Riga was the only city in the Baltics that had a Western restaurant. They had a TGI Fridays.
Yes.
So we would
I've
pilgrimage
been.
down there for the weekend
Amazing.
just to have like a burger and fries at a regular Western restaurant.
So
But
why?
we had friends that were living there. And one of them was like, hey, you should move here. The economy is really great. It's a great place to set
They
up
lied
shop.
to you.
And they liked me. And I wanted to make a difference somewhere,
Yes.
right? And my dad was going through a bit of a midlife crisis at that time. And we were sitting in the backyard having a beer. And he said, I've just finished 25 years in my company, and I'm not quite sure if I've wasted half of my life or not. And I was like,
Wake
Dad,
up.
seriously. And he said, listen, kid, you know what? It's fine. I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to retire here. But if you want to do something adventurous with your life, you should do it while you're young and you have time to clean up the mess. And that really made sense to me. So I went home, told my wife, we sold everything. We moved to the other side of the world and started in
Well
Estonia
done
because
to
we
her
had,
for
yeah.
moving, right? And
Yeah,
saying, let's
yeah.
go.
Yeah, we wanted to make a difference. We wanted to help to affect youth culture in Estonia and the region if we could. So we started an educational organization. Then we did third-party education in high schools. Then we did large events. Then because we needed it, we did sound and lighting equipment rental. Then I started a clothing
They
line,
didn't
which
speak the language.
yeah,
Because
I'm
those days they didn't speak English.
a little bit, but
They're highly
that's right.
educated people, but
Correct.
English isn't so well spoken. And
Yeah, it was about 70% Estonian, 30% Russian. And so we learned Estonian. So I'm one of the million people in the world that actually speak
speaks
Estonian.
Estonian.
It's really poor now because I've buried it under 8 years of Arabic. But yeah,
you
it was.
speak Arabic.
Yeah, I speak
Oh my
Arabic.
God.
Yeah, still.
Get out of here.
But I lived in Yemen for 5
I don't
years.
speak
So
one word and I've been here 15 years.
well, shame on you.
Say that in Arabic.
Haram alek.
Damn it. Thank you.
Afwan. Allah yaftah عليك. It's been, so after that, we exited our companies in Estonia, moved to Yemen. Again, adventure, wanted something different, wanted to give our kids a different kind of upbringing. I really wanted my kids to live as immigrants for a while, and I wanted to actually learn Arabic. So I met this guy in London. He was doing consulting for the Ministry of Electricity in Yemen. He said, oh, you should move to Yemen. And I said, that's great. Where is that? And he had to actually literally show me on a map because I had no idea. Anyway, so it made sense to me. There was this little school in Taz where they taught modern standard Arabic. So we moved there, studied Arabic for a couple of years, but we ended up staying for 5 years because we moved next door to I think probably one of the wealthiest men in the country, Ahmed Hal Sayed Anam. And those of you who know, you'll know. He had like 45,000 employees and controlled about a third of the GDP while we were there. And so he used to, yes, he's passed away now.
That company's
Yes,
in tatters now.
it's true. Yeah. So after the war, it's been really challenging for them. They've got operations.
Still keep in touch with people.
Yeah, of course. Some of my best friends.
Does it break your heart when you see what's happened?
Absolutely, yes.
What kind of is it beautiful? Is it green?
Yeah, it's green. It's beautiful. Of course, most of the green there is khat, right? They're growing khat instead of coffee, which is their actual gold. They would print money if they were to grow coffee instead of khat, and they would export it. But it's, Ali Abdullah Saleh used to describe the political situation as dancing on the heads of snakes. And it really was. It was just bizarre.
Did you feel the tension at the time when you were there?
I did at the very end. I was chewing khat every Thursday and Friday. Thursdays with members of the opposition. I was with the Hal Sayed Anam family, usually at my friend Abdul Jabbar Hal's house, or Walid Hazam Dafar. These guys were my closest friends there. Yeah. And then on Fridays, I would chew khat at the house of Muhammad Mansour. Yes. Muhammad Mansour was wanted by the Hague for war crimes, and he was one of the 12 chief advisors to Ali Abdullah Saleh, and I think maybe the most corrupt human I've ever met in my whole life. But his son was my next door neighbor, and he was deeply embarrassed about his dad's reputation. And so which was true, yes. But I got to sit in those.
When you kind of sitting in his majlis, and
yeah.
Did you?
It was
every word was like thinking, really?
Yeah.
Or did you admire him in a certain weird, strange way? Or?
The son, yes. The father, no. He really was a corrupt human being. But he was playing by the rules that he was taught. He was completely tribal. I watched people walk in and kiss his feet. I watched people walk in and kiss the ring on his finger like the Godfather. And then I watched him arbitrate between parties and decide, you owe this guy 5 camels and 3 goats and all that. And
then give me 3 cows.
But he had a private army of a few thousand heads, which came in really handy during our last week in Yemen. Al Qaeda came and they killed one of my employees, an American. His name was Joel, and when they assassinated him, I got a call from Ministry of Information from my guy on there. Yeah, he said, look, it's Al Qaeda. They've taken responsibility. We'll announce it to the world tomorrow, but they have a list and your name is on it, and you need to disappear now. So he said, never drive your car again. Get to your house as fast as you can. And then when you're ready to go to the airport, we'll send the army to escort you out.
So wife?
Yeah,
and kids?
yeah. Wife and kids were there. It took us 5 days to get out because we had to prepare Joel to move anyway. I said, I'm not leaving until Joel's on the plane. So we got his wife and 2 sons out the next day to Sana'a, and then it took a few days. We needed to fly a doctor
Joel
in.
Being the person who got assassinated.
Sorry?
Who's Joel?
Joel Shrum. He was one of our employees at the International Training Development Center.
Assassinated.
Correct.
So you had to take his coffin out and
that's correct. Yeah, nobody wanted to touch it. It was, you wouldn't believe how hard it is to get somebody to sign an American death certificate in Yemen. So we had to fly a doctor in to help deal with all of that, and myself and one other Canadian carried his casket onto the plane, and my family left on the same plane as his body. As soon as we got to Sana'a, we handed him over to the FBI, and they took him back. They repatriated his body from there. But it was a very difficult week.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not that you won't find on LinkedIn, right? It's great at a cocktail party, but yeah, it's
like a movie.
Yeah, but it adds to my resilience. Right. I joke with my kids that I'm immortal. Right. I tell them I'm the smallest of all of the gods. And I know that because I just can't.
You're a gladiator.
I think maybe it's true. I run obstacle course races for fun. I've just taken up skydiving for fun. I've got my A-level USPA skydiving license just this year.
So you do skydiving by yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. Recreationally.
You do all the somersaults and backwards and all, you crazy?
Yeah, I can now. Yeah, but in the beginning it was terrible. I started in September. A friend of mine came to visit.
September, just a few months.
Yeah, a few months back. I have a crippling fear of heights, and this is the part that's really 2 meters, and I am shaking, sweaty. I have to get my wife to hang things in my own house. It's emasculating.
Yes,
it's
changing
just
a light bulb is an issue for me. I used to play squash. Looking down a squash court, I'd get shakes.
Yep, it's really bad. Anyway, so our friend came and visited, and she's like,
So
"Oh, I want
basically,
to."
you got nothing else to do in life, right? You just want to take on this stuff.
No, what I do is I take on hard things because they're hard. I like that. I do difficult things because they're
You
difficult.
should come and work with me. I'll set you loads of difficult stuff. We'll be billionaires. You never have to jump off a cliff.
That'd be amazing.
Let's do it.
Yeah, like when I started running obstacle course races, it was the same thing. I wanted to do like, in Spartan, they have 3 different
Yes,
lengths of races:
yes.
5 kilometers, 12
Yes.
kilometers, 25
Yes.
kilometers. So I escalated. I did that. Then I found out you could do all 3 in a year and you could get a different kind of medal. Then I was like, I'm going to do all 3 of them in 2 days. So I've done that a few
Have
times.
you hit 50 yet?
Sorry? No, I'm 48.
Right.
I'll be
Wait till
49.
you hit 50. Your knees will say, thank you so much for effing us up. Right?
I'll be 49 in about a month from now. But I think I'm
We'll
very.
speak in 2 years when the
Yeah,
knees in
right.
the back is gone.
I do CrossFit in the morning. 3 times a week, I run 8 kilometers with a 10 kg weight vest. That's because I don't like running unless it's hard. Running by itself, it's not interesting to me. It's boring. If I'm wearing a weight vest, then it's interesting. Then it becomes,
So
then it's hard
you're
again.
disciplined.
Yeah, I think that's probably my superpower is I know how to make myself do things that I don't want to do.
Let's go to September 2023.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
happened? Skydiving.
Okay, right. So skydiving, our friend came and visited. She's like, I've always wanted to go skydiving. Will you take me? And I said, sure. And then I looked at my wife and I was like, hey, do you want to come? She's like, absolutely not. We are not doing
I
that.
like her so much. I resonate with her.
So I said, it's fine. I'll take you. And I was shitting myself the whole time. I was shaking, but I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of this girl, right? I was embarrassed anyway. So we did the tandem jump at the Palm, and the whole time we're up in the plane, and I have this avatar of a scared, angry caveman that lives in the back of my brain, that lives inside the amygdala. Right. And all he's doing the whole time is just stomping on the panic button saying, adrenaline, cortisol, vasopressin. We just need, I'm shaking.
The thoughts are coming to the edge.
Nauseous. And they open the door 500 meters up, right? We're going to 13,000 feet, but they open the door and I'm looking straight down at the bottom and I'm strapped to this guy and I'm just.
Earth is getting further and further away.
Yeah, I was just feeling sick. But anyway, so I just breathe through it, mental discipline, get out the door, do the jump, got down.
Which was the worst part?
The worst part was the ride
I have
up.
this thing when you're on the edge.
Yeah, the ride up. That was hard. Then I got.
You must, if you're the last one, everybody's jumping.
Yeah.
And you're the last one, you think, oh, F.
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard, but
Did you
don't have a choice at that time. You're committed.
Did you tense up? Were you?
Yeah, I tensed up. And then once I got out there, he's like, my instructor's in my ear, right? He's like, relax. Don't forget to smile. And I'm like, right. So I'm like, relax. Don't forget to smile. And I'm trusting his desire to survive, right? Not mine. And I'm trusting the engineers and all of that, right? Just think about the engineering, think about this guy's survival will. And so I get to the bottom and a little while later,
through this process, a minute or whatever, you're coming down.
Yeah.
Is it a minute? I don't know.
No, yeah, it's about a minute of free fall. That's right.
So what's going through your mind? Does it get easier? You think, oh, this is not bad.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I did not enjoy skydiving until probably jump 6 or 7. When I was finally able to relax enough to smile and enjoy 8 seconds of it before I had to do something else.
So you did tandem for 6?
No, I did tandem just 1 jump. And then on your next jump, you go through the advanced free fall course. And then your jump 1, you're pulling the chute alone. You've got 2 instructors with you during the free fall, and they're making sure that you pull the ripcord at the right time.
Oh my God.
Right? But once you pull that cord, you are on your own. Between the parachute opening and touching the ground, there's no one with you.
So how many sessions did you have from your first jump to your second? From tandem to single.
From tandem to single,
Yeah,
that's
that's-
it. There's 1 day of training. Yeah, 1 day of training.
No.
Yeah, and then they take you out the next day and they say,
How do you
okay,
know
on
where
this.
the parachute's going to go and how are you going to land in that?
They teach you, but it's very much experiential. You get your advanced free fall certification
In
after
1 day?
after about 8 to 10 jumps. Okay, 8 to 10 jumps is about how much it takes to get the advanced free fall, and you'll spend a total of about 7 minutes in the air free falling. And there's like, we make lots of jokes about it. One is there's no other sport in the world you can learn by playing it for 7 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But your survival instinct kicks in. It's like your brain is learning very quickly. But then the angry caveman and your amygdala is stomping on the panic button, right? Saying you need to fight or flee. But there's nothing to fight with and there's nothing to flee from. And all of your instinct is to do this, right? To tense up, to bring your body together like that, to protect your heart, protect your lungs, to get ready to fight or run. Exactly. You need to be like this. So it is a tremendous amount of mental discipline to just say, to tell your amygdala, actually, we need to do the exact opposite of what feels natural. None of it is natural. It is the least transferable set of skills I've collected.
Now you do it for fun.
Yeah, I do. I do it to see what happens with my brain when I do it.
Can you go backwards and
Yep, I can now.
turns?
Yeah, that part is really interesting. And diving and what they call tracking when you're moving straight through the air like that it's really fun. That part is really fun. I feel like I'm flying at that. You're moving at about 300 kilometers an hour, but because the horizon is your reference point, it's just you're moving really.
Bullet.
Yeah, you're like a bullet. Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
which ones? Lots of entrepreneurs listening to this conversation. Should they open up a business or jump off a plane?
I don't see the difference. I think probably it's going to be scary either way. I think opening up a business is a bit like having a kid, right? Jumping out of a plane is very fast. Opening up a business is very slow. The first 2 years, it's just crying and screaming, which is mostly yours. It's just shit, piss, and vomit. No sleep. No one says thank you for anything, and you're always trying to save it from killing itself. Right. So I've raised kids. I've started and exited businesses, and
Raising
I can
kids
say
was
it's
easier.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, like honestly, the things that I've done in my life that have been the most fulfilling have been the hardest. Yeah, I think honestly, I think happiness is a distraction from fulfillment, and people are seeking happiness. But if you want to be happy, just eat a Big Mac, watch Netflix. That'll make you happy. You want dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin? Fine, sit in front of the TV and eat junk food. That will make you happy. Okay.
Take action.
Yeah, but it's not going to
achieve things. Then you get true.
The hard stuff is what's going to be fulfilling. And I'll tell you, all of that stuff, right? Writing books, doing postgraduate degrees, starting businesses, raising kids. It was like 15% happy and 85% really hard work. Absolutely. And that's what makes it. And so it was the same with learning.
Most people don't want to do that hard work.
That's right.
Consistently over
That's
a
right.
period of time.
And it's the same with the obstacle course racing, the marathon off-road, like 50 kilometer off-road racing. That's not fun. That's not enjoyable. You're not spending 6.5 hours or 8 hours running in soft sand thinking, wow, I'm having the time of my life. I'm so happy. No, you're not happy.
Well, that caveman's
and the caveman's like, this is really hard. Actually, the caveman gets a little bit turned on by that because your ancestors survived the planet by taking on those challenges. Right? We were all gladiators at some point. All of our ancestors earned us the right to be born.
Time and protection.
By doing the hard things. And we live in such an abundant, comfortable, convenient life. And I think actually the abundance is what's killing us. We have too many opportunities, too many conveniences, too much comfort. We're like lions in padded cells that we've built for ourselves. We are bored.
Very true. I saw a clip, 3-4 minute clip of 1930s. There was hardly anybody who was overweight.
Yeah, most people couldn't afford to eat 3 times a day.
And they walked everywhere. They were active.
It's a new thing.
Yes.
So we don't have, we've got adaptive mechanisms that our ancestors gave to us, right? Those adaptive mechanisms are what allow us to adapt to the world. And some of them are unconscious and some of them are conscious. Like calluses on our hands. When we lift things that are heavy a lot and we get a lot of friction, your skin develops calluses. You don't decide that; it just happens, right? Or I'm white, so if I stand in the in the sun too long, I turn dark, right? I don't say, "Hey, I'm going to turn my skin dark." No, my skin just the melanin just sort of changes color and pigment because it's an adaptive mechanism. We have the same in our heads. What we don't have an adaptive mechanism for is abundance. We don't have an adaptive mechanism that's right. So you have a kill for bread switch in your head, right? That will tell you, hey, you're starving, you will die. Find another human that's got bread, kill them and take their bread.
Yes.
Okay? You have that because that's a survival mechanism.
Yes. Putin's listening to this going, that's me.
Yeah.
Putin's loving this now. He's got a big erection listening to this going, he gets me, I'm going to hire him.
Yeah, exactly.
He gets me.
But what we don't have, we don't have a switch, an upper limit that says, hey, idiot, you're eating so much it will kill you. which is why we were watching 600-Pound Life on TLC. There's no upper limit switch. And it's the same with complexity and convenience and comfort. We don't have an upper limit switch that says, hey, idiot, this is too much complexity. You can't take on all of these opportunities. It doesn't matter how good they are. You cannot fulfill them all. Right? And which is why every single time one of my executive coaching clients calls me after burnout, they are shocked. They call me from the hospital, they call me from bed, and they say, I've had an anxiety attack, or I've burned out, or I've just decided to take a week off for personal mental reasons. I never saw it coming. I'm totally surprised. They tell me all the time.
Well, you recognize the pattern.
100%. Yeah. And now I've got so much information after like 15 years of coaching. Now I can tell when my coaching clients are headed for burnout, and I say, okay, and I've got a calculator for it. I've built a calculator. I tell them, this is the cost to you. This is the cost to your company. You're at your level of complexity. This is it. If you don't simplify now, you will end up in hospital making that same phone call to me as I've received another dozen times. Oh, Corrie, I should have listened. I never saw it coming.
Most people just go through their own experiences.
Yeah. And that cost on the bottom line, that's millions for the company.
Of course.
Right. And that's why not just coaching, that's why executive coaching with a real qualified executive coach is so profitable.
Yes.
Is because we can very easily help a CXO notice $1 million opportunity or avoid $1 million mistake.
Yes.
And then it's like, wow, okay. Then the ROI is very simple to calculate if you have that shorthand.
We're going to come to that. That's more. I want to talk about the structure of your business right now and everything. But so you exited, you went to Yemen, you left in a hurry.
Left in a hurry.
You left your business behind. You didn't have a chance to exit it.
No, that's correct. I was consulting for a Chinese company based in Beijing. I left them, relocated here on a visa.
Dubai.
Yes, I had co-founded a company that was
How long
based
ago?
here. Oh, that was 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, goodness. Seems
12
like,
years ago.
yeah, it's a long time. Anyway, so
But it goes fast.
it does go fast. Yeah, I think, time flies when you're having fun.
Yes.
It-
We're busy all the time.
yeah, busy doing good things, not just busy for busy's sake.
That's the choice we make.
Yeah,
Right? Because it's easy to take on every opportunity, but not all opportunities are good.
that's true.
Especially where people come to make money and trade.
Yeah. Well, I have the same problem my coaching clients have, right? My task list is growing every day, and there are more things on my task list than I can ever do, and there are more good things to do every day than can ever be done.
Yes.
And I have the same 24 hours as you and Elon Musk. That's
Yes.
it.
You just make a better use of it.
Yeah. So I've
It's
become
more disciplined
a
with
time wizard
Yes.
because time is the only fair resource, right? Opportunity is unfair, threat is unfair, environmental, situation, socioeconomics, religion, language, geography, skin color, that's all unfair.
Yes.
Right? But time, we all get 24 hours. That's it. They tick down at exactly the same pace for every human being. So that's the differentiator. That's what really sets us apart from each
I was
other.
in Davos and happened to be the Davos conference.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the reception of the hotel, and then Bill Gates' secretaries came out,
Oh, nice.
and there was reporters waiting, and she'll say, Financial Times, whatever. Yes, you got 2 minutes. Daily Telegraph, you got 1.5 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they don't have time to say, how are the kids?
Yeah.
How was your weekend, Bill?
Yeah.
The way he is disciplined with his time,
Yeah.
it changes the way people deal with him.
That's right.
So the reporters had that 1.5 minutes. They had the questions ready.
Yeah. It's true.
And that was my wake-up call. I said, that's why he's so rich.
I should say, I'll send you I have an ebook called The Protocol,
Please.
which I've only shared with my executive coaching clients.
Okay.
And it is how I manage my own time. Because people ask me, I live a very complex life. I work hard, right? But I also play hard. And so if you follow me around for a year, it's a dizzying schedule, right?
Exhausting.
Yeah, it's exhausting. Just to look at, it's exhausting. But this is how I actually do it. I have these 11 principles that I live by religiously.
I love to.
And I'm going to turn that into, it's going to be part of my book for this year. So I write a book every year now.
Okay. How many do you have?
How many books? 7.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, I've got my latest 3 here. I'm actually going to be publishing 2 books this year. One is called The Chief Executive Coach.
Right.
And because it's answering the question, what's the difference between coaching at CXO level and C-1? There's actually a massive competency gap between C and C-1 in terms of the requirements of an executive coach. My conversations with, like Marshall Goldsmith and Mark Thompson, Stephen Covey, have all revealed this as well. Like, yeah, it's different at the CXO level. Your operation is different. The politics are different.
You think things different. Yes.
Yeah, the imposter syndrome, the insecurities are different. The negotiation is different. Legacy planning and succession planning and career planning are all different because, what do you do once you've reached the highest rung on the ladder? You've been climbing it your whole life. Once you reach the highest rung on that ladder, yeah, now you switch to a defensive position, first of all, because you've been offensive your entire career. Suddenly now, instead of being
everything you've got,
instead of being one of 5 candidates, you're looking down at 4 other hungry apex predators.
Yes.
Right? And you have to add enough value that...
And that's why most leaders become insecure.
It happens.
Yes.
Yeah, it happens. And they don't realize it because there's nobody prepares you for that. Yes. Nobody talks you through that. And nobody prepares you to be on the C-suite for the very first time, having to translate your native language. So I had this one CDO, I won't embarrass him by saying the company, chief digital officer, right? He just got onto the C-suite. And so his CEO said, hey, I want you to present a strategy for digital transformation for the organization. So he came in with 72 slides, right? 72 slide deck.
By PowerPoint.
Yeah, it was horrible. I looked at it afterwards because the CEO called me and said, look, you need to spend some time with this guy.
Audience.
So this was actually just draft 1, right? Draft 1. He came in, presented and it was completely brilliant, detailed, competent, right? But the CEO goes, yeah, I'm not sure about this. I'm humming and hawing about it. Can you present again in about a week? Comes back a week later with 120 slides because he figured, I just didn't explain it well enough, right? Like we just need more detail and more technology and more vocabulary. The challenge is the CDO has spent his entire life in the IT department.
That's all he knows.
Yes, so he started out as cybersecurity, then moved up to account management.
Emotional intelligence, he's so data driven.
Yeah, and once he gets to the C-suite, he's the only one that speaks data. Yeah. That's his native language. But now he needs to translate that strategy into something for HR, for finance, for operations, right? And the CFOs are not better, right? CFOs start out as accountants and they spend 30 years in accounting until they become a CFO. Now,
spreadsheets.
Yes. And so they get to the C-suite and they're so excited. Finally, I'm CFO, right? And they're going to add value. And so they're going to add value in their native language. They're going to show off their competency in a language that nobody else speaks. Yes. Finance.
The challenge, correct me if I'm wrong, is that people tend to use consultants and coaches when they're in pain.
That's true.
It's very visionary of a company and wise to use a coach without being in pain.
Yeah. So I look, if you're broken and need to be fixed, call a therapist. That is not my job. My job is to turn talented athletes into Olympians. That's my job. And look, and the metaphor works, actually. You will never find an Olympic athlete without an Olympic level coach. Yes. Okay. And you will never find an Olympic level coach asking their athlete, what do you think you should do today? How do you think you can improve? What exercises have you not tried? No, that's bullshit coaching. Okay. You can get away with that at a mid-management level, but at the CXO level, I guarantee you stand in front of any CEO of a company of 5,000 or more employees and you say, what haven't you tried? What do you think you should do? And he'll get the hell out of my office. This is a $10,000 hour. Get out. You're wasting my time. So you have to be prepared. You have to have business experience and acumen.
When do these companies come to you and your organization now?
Some of them are very forward thinking. They understand.
In this region?
Yes. Incredible. Yeah, but it's new. Right, it's within the last 10 years or so.
I was going to say, because from my experience, they don't. I can't generalize, but most don't value soft skills. They don't value culture, or they haven't been.
That's correct. So that's a hangover from the mid 80s and early 90s. So in the mid 80s, the cold consulting era of the late 1970s and mid 80s, following the Milton Friedman's shareholder supremacy movement, meant that we could dehumanize people as much as we can. Right. We dehumanize them.
Keep pushing.
Yes, KPIs, systems. Yes. The problem is that we're not cogs in a machine. We're not system parts, and we are not predictable.
And also now people don't feel they have to be in the same job for 20 years.
That's right.
The mentality is, okay, if I don't like it, I'll move.
Yeah, done. There's lots of opportunity.
I can move 20 times in a year.
Again, the tyranny of abundance, right? So organizations are starting to feel that. If you treat your humans like resources, they'll go and be somebody else's human. Yes. If you treat them like capital, they'll go and be somebody else's human. Humans are not resources, and they definitely do not behave like capital. They are messy and weird and wonderful and creative and sometimes horrible. Okay, but they're hackable. And if you learn how humans behave and how they're motivated intrinsically, not with carrots and sticks,
Yes.
right? If you
Yes.
treat people like donkeys, they'll start behaving like donkeys. But if you understand what people's real motivations, intrinsic motivations and meaning are, then they will work for you when no one's looking. And that is what you want.
Yes. I
Right?
like to walk into my office and everybody continues what they were doing.
Yeah,
They don't minimize the screen or turn the laptop
That's
down.
right.
They just continue because
Yeah.
they're doing what they should be doing.
well, look, that is a byproduct of them feeling secure.
Yes.
Right? Humans need to feel safe. They need to feel secure. They need to feel connected with the people that they're with. And they don't care most of the time what they're doing for work,
Yes.
as long as they care why they're doing it and who they're with.
Yes.
Right? If they care about the people that they're doing it with and they care about their reasons for doing it, which are completely outside of this office,
Yes.
right? They're not doing it because they love you. Maybe they do. Maybe they do love you. But the real, what you want to tap into as a leader, especially as an organizational leader, is the fact that humans, yes, they'll work hard for a leader that they fear. They will, because they're afraid.
Yeah, but for how long?
Right. Not for until they can get an escape route. That's basically it. Right. So that's what talent retention is all based on. Is talent retention is an industry based on your lack of leadership and lack of inspiration.
Wow.
Okay. So if you're investing a lot in talent leadership, it's because probably you're not that inspiring of a leader.
Yes.
Okay. So let's get
It's a
that out of the
fine
way.
line,
But
isn't it? Because sorry, you're coaching me for free now. And I'm going to use and abuse you here. Let's talk about my company.
yeah, go on.
Okay, I'm all inspiring leadership.
Mm,
I actually love my staff, and in return, some of them love me.
good.
Okay, and I got that feeling.
Yeah, good.
And then we have another director in this company who's task driven.
Mm,
His department performs. There's no atmosphere. There's no
yeah,
music. It's just like they even have headsets. They don't talk to each other.
yeah,
They're like machines.
right.
Okay, productivity. He gets more out of his team than I do.
I don't know that that's, how are you measuring that?
Tasks achieved, goals achieved, ROI, but they don't stay as long.
Right. So the turnover's there.
It's there.
Yeah.
So because they will leave for a small amount more, and I say to this director, hey, listen, a company called Zappos
Mhm,
pays
yeah.
people to leave
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they value that time spent training them
Yeah.
more than. So I get people to stay longer, but I know they're not working as fast as they should be.
Mm,
They can achieve so much more.
right.
I'm thinking
So
maybe I'll give you a couple of examples if you
Go.
don't mind. People approach me all the time, like you know, and they say, "I want to work for you. I want to do this. I want to learn from you," and then they're happy. Like this, they come from a real estate
Yeah.
business, right?
yeah, yeah.
And they've been on commission only. They come and work for me, and I prepare them. I said, for 6 weeks, you're gonna go through shit because you're changing your mindset. There's
Yeah,
growth
yeah.
coming in. Your head's gonna be all messed up. You're gonna question whether you've made the right decision. I'm preparing for everything. And then imagine they worked for nothing, commission only for a year.
Mm,
They come to me and I said, listen, the energy of having a commission only position
yeah.
changes when you're on a basic salary. You don't have desperate in your face.
That's right.
And the client knows it. So I pay you a month's salary up front.
Yeah.
Thinking if somebody did that to me,
Mm,
consciously, I'll work twice as hard to pay him back.
yeah. Yeah.
They leave after a month.
Oh, wow. Free money. Yeah.
And
So
I'm like, and you know, they said, oh, I'm sorry. Like I fired one yesterday and his message was, you know, working with you was an honor. I learned so much. Thank you so much. I was like, is he going to say, I'll pay your money back? Not
No.
once. I'll drop
no.
the phone off. I'll drop the car park pass.
Hmm.
Is he going to say, I'll pay your money back that you paid me? Not a word.
there hasn't been enough time, right? So humans build loyalty through reciprocal altruism. It's an exchange that all of our ancestors have taught us to make, right? We can't survive the planet alone. So we survive on teams. And the most effective form of selfishness is together,
Yes.
right? If I'm off hunting and gathering for my family, who's protecting them from the other apex predators on the planet? Well, if I partner with Dariush and his family, you can protect the families, the
Well,
women can share
somebody goes
responsibility. I can hunt enough for all of us to eat. And that's the division of labor. That's the very earliest division of labor. So that's the beginning of Adam Smith and his indivisible hand, right? So fast forward a million years, we're still doing that because it's a best practice for survival. But we do it on economic tribes now instead of
Yeah,
familial
you
or
don't have to go
religious
hunting and
tribes.
shooting animals.
Correct. Yeah. So we're still hunting
We
for
got
resources.
We got cavemen running inside us.
Yes.
But the circumstances have changed.
That's right. Right. And since the Industrial Revolution, we've been allowed to build tribes based on economics
Correct.
rather than religion or geographics or language or family.
Hunger or famine. Or,
Yes, that's right. So we have the rules by which we build relationships are very old, but the environments in which we build them are very new. But if we learn to use the old rules, we'll find out that even though like humans will work hard for a leader that they fear,
Yes.
they will fight for a leader that they love, and they will die for a leader that loves them. Okay, so if we tap into that, how much discretionary effort are we missing out on? If your people were 100% convinced that you were giving them everything and that you loved them and they loved you in return, the discretionary effort would be off the charts. They would just consistently.
I'm missing. I do believe that I have team who do that, but for some reason, I think because I don't measure. I don't measure performances. I live too much by love and emotions.
Yeah.
And I'm in and out. So every couple of months, I might look at the numbers. Hey, they're not really doing as well as they should. They go, yeah, we love you.
Yeah.
And then I go away for about 3 months and say, not much has changed. And
Right.
before you know, 5 months has gone by.
Well, this is it's not very different from any other team game, right? Football, for example, is an arbitrary game.
Yes.
We decided at some point we were going to judge people's prowess by their ability to kick a ball around on grass, while another group of humans was trying to prevent them, right? But how many people are on a football team? It's not the 11 on the field. There's owners and managers and masseuses and there's digital graphic design artists and marketers and branding managers and all of that, right? There's like 1,000 people.
Yes.
And then there's those 1,000 families that are being fed by that game. But the football game itself is massive and it's feeding hundreds of thousands of families. It's $1 trillion arbitrary game
Yes.
based on a ball and grass, right? It doesn't matter the game that you're playing. Every team in football, right? They might have a great rapport, they might love each other, but they actually have to have the skill as well and the discipline as well to win the game. And it doesn't matter how fast Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo can run; they can never win a game by themselves. Yes. They might be incredible
football, I
players.
wasn't sure you meant soccer or football. Now I know.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. So I've been out of Canada for so long.
Talking about kicking the ball. Thank God you didn't ask me how many players on the team. I was like, I have no idea.
Yeah, no, I was watching the Netflix series Quarterback with my wife over the weekend, and it was also again just really proves to highlight that it doesn't matter how good a player is.
It's the team.
They're only as good as their team and the camaraderie within the team. And the team, because every single member of your team is an apex predator, each and every one of them is selfish. Okay, they are in it for themselves, and you want that. That's fine, as long as they know that being with you for that day is their best, fastest, most effective way to achieve their personal goals for their personal life. They will run hard. They will pass accurately. They will do the best they can.
The Michael Jordan documentary on Netflix.
Yeah, it was up a few months ago.
Yeah,
maybe a year ago.
Yeah,
I did. It was fascinating.
Incredible.
Yeah, really good.
Mentality. And he was selfish in a way because he wanted to be the greatest, but he pulled the whole team up.
Yeah, because he was in the court practicing when nobody was looking.
Yes,
because he was really in it for himself.
David Beckham was the same.
Exactly right. Yeah, Lionel Messi was the same.
Yes,
Cristiano Ronaldo was the same.
Yes,
so at the very highest level, we're kicking our own asses when nobody's looking, in the dark, without anybody watching, with no metrics, no KPIs. I'm out in the morning at 5 a.m, running 8 kilometers with a 10 kg weight vest on because that's who I am. And I want to be able to play at my best.
How old are your children now?
We have 5 between us, my wife and I. Yeah, so my oldest it's his 23rd birthday today, actually. Yes. So he's 23.
Thank you for being here.
Cheers, my pleasure. My daughter is 18, turning 19 next month. We have a 9-year-old son and 6-year-old twins, boy-girl twins.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
And any of them like you?
Do any of them like me? I think they do. No. I'm kidding.
Are they like you?
Yeah, my son.
Similar.
My son is very much.
23-year-olds.
Yeah, very much like
Does he
me.
come running with you in the mornings?
No,
not that
no.
much.
No, but I didn't do that when I was 23 either. I was a skater, so I got my exercise through skating and hurting myself and getting back up again. But he has that kind of level of discipline. Mm-hmm. He's in cybersecurity. He's running the IT department for a startup in DIFC.
Oh, wow, amazing.
So yeah, I'm very proud of him.
Amazing.
But it's all under his own steam. It's his own discipline. He's like, I want to do this.
He's got your gifts. He's got your personality.
I think so. Yeah, the competency addiction for sure.
Amazing.
I think that's going to work out really well for him.
So you arrived. We're jumping timescales, but I'm loving this.
Go on.
you got here 12 years, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
12, 13 years ago.
Yes, that's right.
And then how did you start?
I
New
was,
country again.
yes, again.
You're in your 30s,
Yep.
early 30s.
Yeah, I co-founded an FMCG company and started a new brand, did product development, did research on product development, and developed an
What was
award. The product is called Chicky Chunk,
Okay.
canned chicken, flavored canned chicken. It was manufactured. We manufactured in Thailand. We sold all over EMEA, and it was amazing. We won awards at Cial in Paris, and here we won best new halal food
Wow.
at Gulf Food. Yeah, that was really cool. I was like, oh, awesome.
Did you make much money?
Doing that, yeah, quite good at the time. And then I used that because I had my first bankruptcy was in 2008, right? So I was living in Yemen. We had everything invested with a broker, an investment broker, and the brokerage went bankrupt, and there was no protection. So it was just, we watched the value of our investment just go down, down, down,
Broker
down.
as in financial investment,
Yes.
not like brokerage for properties. It was
No.
financial investment.
Yeah, it was financial investment. And
Total trust.
Yep.
You gave him everything.
Yeah, it was very, very painful because not only did we lose everything that we had saved, but it was a family friend.
Oh, wow.
And he felt horrible, but he
Oh,
lost
so
everything
he
as
didn't
well.
have a conscience.
Yeah. He felt horrible as well, but he lost everything too. And it was just, so we just cried. We cried for a while. I found the bottom of a bottle of whiskey and I got back to work because that's what you do when you're an apex predator.
And then when you're apex predator, do you come home and cry to your wife, or you just don't say anything?
No, I cried to my wife. Yeah, my wife.
Because you can be an apex predator and show vulnerability, right?
Yes.
You don't have to be strong.
Yeah, no, I've always treated my wife. I was married previously for 22 years.
Yes.
Now my second wife, we've been married 4.5 years. She is my partner in everything. I had full transparency with both of my wives.
Yes.
Actually, it was an interesting segue. I decided when I was 20 years old, I wanted to live a life without secrets because I had seen what secrets had done to my parents growing up. And so I told my wife, yeah, I said, I'm just going to tell you everything that there is to know about me that's even remotely interesting, good or bad, right? And you're just going to bear all of that because I wanted to make sure that I knew that there was somebody on the planet that knew me completely and loved me anyway.
That's a huge amount of trust, isn't it?
Yeah, because some of it was really humiliating, right? Telling people, even telling somebody that close to you, those very humiliating, embarrassing inner things, like it's hard.
Yes.
So, but the payoff for
the
that.
fact is that she was worthy of it because she didn't turn it around against you.
That's correct.
So
Yeah.
you chose the right person.
Absolutely, yeah.
Some people don't choose the right people to share vulnerabilities.
Yeah, like my first wife, Dawn, she and I had 22 years of amazing adventures together.
Yeah.
And even though the marriage ended,
You're still friends.
yeah, the adventure was incredible. I'm not going to throw the book away because the last chapter was hard. No, that doesn't make sense to me. We had an incredible time together. We really did. And she was my best friend. Eventually, she decided to go on an adventure that I wasn't invited on.
Sure.
And that was the beginning of the end for us.
Sure.
But when I started dating my second wife,
Was that hard on you at the time?
it was devastating. The most difficult thing I've ever gone through. Yes.
Because boundaries were stepped over, right?
Yeah, it was.
And values were missed.
Yeah, but it was more than that. I had to mourn not just the relationship, but all of my visions for my future had her in it.
Yes.
Right. I had to mourn every
Suddenly you
future.
have to go back to the scratchbook and just start all over again.
Yeah. It was very
Did you lose
challenging.
confidence?
I did. Yeah. I believe that I would.
It's interesting how personally, emotionally, you can lose confidence, but you can be a gladiator or a predator in business. I could lose $1 million and I'll get it back.
Yeah.
But emotionally, when you're drained, it could be a killer.
Yeah. I spent 10 solid days measuring the value of suicide and the impact. Yeah, against the quality of life that I was facing. I was mourning all of my preferred futures. They were all gone. And I didn't want to, and I was convinced I was never going to find a relationship like that. And I was going to spend the rest of my life alone. And I stuck around because of my kids. I couldn't do that to them. And I knew it was my empathy for my kids that kept me here.
Because
and
you're going to mess up their future if you quit.
That's correct. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I can't do that to them. I'll stick it out for a while. And then counseling. I had really great therapists at the time I had an independent therapist. My wife and I had a couples therapist. We worked for about 6 months to try to put it back together.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and in the end,
So the grass wasn't greener.
no.
The grass wasn't greener.
So
People look for a bit of excitement in
Yeah.
life, and they often find out that's bullshit.
yeah, but you can't unshit the soup,
No.
right? So
Some people look for the honeymoon, but they don't realize honeymoon ends.
that's true. Yeah,
It passes, right?
yeah.
They don't
So
think long term.
And I
I've
think-
been there, my friend. I know it's
I agree.
demoralizing. I slept on the beach for 11 days.
Yeah,
It led to my heart attack. The stress of it all.
yeah.
The shock of it all.
Yeah, it was really, really horrible experience. But I'm so grateful for what I've learned as a result
And
of that.
also, you got your second wife, right?
That was a
You know, had
shock.
This opportunity.
My second wife and I, we met 3 days after my divorce. So my divorce was finalized. I had friends that was like, they knew what I was going through, and they said, "Hey, we've got a friend. She's just starting her divorce. Would you mind meeting with her?"
No, so she was.
She doesn't
fresh
understand. She doesn't understand the process. You understand Sharia law. Can you give her some tips, right? So coffee, right?
Yes.
A year and a half later, we were married.
Two broken biscuits having coffee.
Yeah, we bonded over a lot. We bonded over a lot. It was really bizarre
And
because
almost you're sharing your vulnerability right from the beginning.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. But then I also had to share my secrets.
Yeah.
Remember the commitment that I had
Yes,
made, right?
yes,
To live a life without
Stuck
secrets.
with it, yes.
So about a year into our relationship, when we had decided actually this is heading for permanency, I said, "Look, I'm going to have to share some stuff with you. It's going to take some time and it's going to be hard." I said, "I've committed to live a life without secrets. And my goal in this conversation, however long it takes, is that at the end of the conversation, you will never, ever say, 'Well, you didn't tell me that.' So I have to unload to you every bit of interesting information about me, positive and negative." It took a few days. And it was hard. We went through a few bottles of wine in the conversation.
It was hard for her to process it.
Yeah.
So, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but she'd never seen anything like that. But the benefit that I get from that is that I know that I'm truly loved because I know I'm truly known.
For the good, the bad, the ugly,
Yeah.
everything.
And that's the only way that I can know that I'm truly loved is if I'm truly known. And I am truly known by my wife, not by everybody. I don't put everything on social media, but my wife knows absolutely everything there is to know about me that's even remotely interesting.
Do you know, what I find is that you made a promise to yourself. Most people seek acceptance from others who are not qualified.
Right. Yes.
And you knew you were going to open up to that one person. A lot of people open up to a lot of people,
Yes.
and they're surprised why they get hurt
Yeah.
because they're not being selective when
Yeah.
they bring into their lives.
Yeah.
They're not very clear with their boundaries. They're not clear with their values.
I find that a lot of my coaching clients end up opening up to me about things that they don't open up to anyone else about.
They feel safe and they trust.
Yeah, I carry around billion-dollar secrets all the time. And it's my calm, my trustworthiness, my empathy, my kindness, and then the practicality of the advice that I give. I think that helps me in that. I am. Yes, I'm very honest in that. And I'm willing to hear it.
And also, I guess the position you're in now, you're fearless, right? A lot of people hide, don't say anything because they fear being fired.
Yeah.
Say the right things. They
Yeah.
don't want to upset the client. That income depends on it. But you are who you are, irrespectively. Right?
Yeah, I don't need
If
the
you
money.
don't like what you hear, we walk.
That's right. I don't need the money. I don't need the influence. And I know that the most expensive part of that hour is not my fees. It's their time. So yeah, I don't have any issues. I've never actually been fired from a coaching position. I've fired my clients. Yeah. If they're not responding, I'm like, yeah, I'm not your coach. I'm sorry, you're not developing.
Seriously enough next.
Yeah. Yeah.
You will regret this in time, but I'm not going to hang around for you to find out. Yeah.
It's for me, I view myself as an Olympic coach, and I'm looking for Olympic quality athletes. I'm looking for people who have gone as far as they can go on their own steam. They're a bit overwhelmed. You want to break a world record, you're going to have to do something that no human has ever done before. That's the definition of a world record. And in order to do that, you're going to need a coach that can coach an athlete to do something that no human has ever done.
Do you feel like athletes, top execs, they have the personal life affecting their professional life? So you're not just a professional coach, a business coach. Often it's the mindset, personal stuff going on that's affecting.
I'll tell you a case study. Okay, so one of my coaching clients, and I'm not going to obviously mention who it is or where they work.
Sure.
More than 10,000 employees.
Yes.
Was managing an acquisition of about 2,500 new employees, managing an acquisition and going through a divorce at the same time. So the love of his life had said, "Oh, I want a divorce." Meanwhile, he's got all of this. He's got 10,000 families to feed, 2,500 families coming in. All of the culture is based on him, and he's negotiating this acquisition, but he's heavily emotionally distracted, right? That can cost millions on the bottom line. But who does he talk to? Who do you talk to about that? And I said, "Do you have a therapist?" "Yeah, I talked to my therapist. She has no idea how to help me." Yeah, like in this context, when I'm in the office and all I want to do is break down and cry, but I'm rereading this contract again. How do I do that? Give me tools for that. And you have to have a significant basket of tools and a lot of empathy and a lot of active listening to be able to add value in that situation.
Right?
100%. Yeah, so I've done that. I was chief strategy officer, interim chief strategy officer for a group of companies when I was going through my divorce.
Yes.
And being able to isolate the emotional impact of my divorce from the strategic impact of my decision making was an incredible set of tools to learn. I was coaching myself every day. So it was hard. It was really hard. But I had tools to offer, right? But the thing is that, like, at an executive level, there's no one to talk to about that.
True.
Right? And you may not trust your coach as you would a therapist, and you may not trust your therapist as you would a business coach. To find somebody who can walk that line.
But there's someone like Tiger Woods has 6-7 coaches, right?
Yeah, of course.
Respects
Yeah, of course.
him for his
Almost
putting,
every MMA fighter has an army of coaches. The quarterbacks have an army of coaches, right? There's a throwing coach, there's a kicking coach, there's a running coach, there's a mental coach, there's physiotherapy. And
Yeah, we're going to talk about the chicken business. What happened?
with the chicken business, I left that company, and I started another company with an Emirati friend of mine.
Yes.
And we built up after about 18 months. We had great client list, great team and everything.
Doing what?
Sorry?
Doing what?
Strategic consulting.
Okay, so that's when you first started getting to consulting.
No, I was consulting long before that. Since my first consulting gig was actually with the World Bank. I was 27 years old. And the World Bank had found out what I had been doing through my third-party education company in Estonia. And they called me to consult on education policy and leadership development.
Where's this situated now? World Bank?
World Bank. It was in Brussels at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not too far away from Estonia.
No, not too far. But the meetings were all in Sarajevo. And so I ended up going to Sarajevo. And I was a skater, right? So I was in shorts, big hoodie.
Wherever you go, wars have followed. Is that something to do? Are you?
No, I was following the war. Actually, it was after Sarajevo. And so World Bank was...
tidy up the mess.
They were using the meetings and all of that as an excuse to inject funds back into the city.
Yes.
But the city looked like Swiss cheese when I was there. It was horrible. It just looked... You can see where all of the people were camped out in the mountains around the city, and all of this... It was just... Yeah, there was just bullet holes everywhere.
I believe it's a beautiful city.
It is now.
Yeah.
And it is now. Like, they've done a great job of restoration. I've been back since, and it's beautiful. But the stories they told, it was incredible. Anyway, so I started consulting very young and did strategy consulting all through my 30s.
This is for a government level and huge bank level, right?
Yes. And
so immediately you were dealing with a top exec.
That's correct. Yeah.
So you learned how to speak at that level.
That's correct. Yeah. So it wasn't difficult for me in my early 30s to transition into private business. So I started consulting for Total and Zeitgeist and the Hal Seidenam family. Yes. I was working on $450 million feasibility projects for oil and gas, power and water. And I was very young, right, to do that. I had a very good strategic mind. I consumed information like a sponge.
Energy.
Yep. So, and so it allowed me to be in rooms that I really had no business being in at that age.
One thing I don't do coaching anymore, but one thing I always say to people who work for me is that constantly be driving. Constantly. I've never ever been fired, and I've never ever had a client saying, "What's going to happen next?" Right. Because I'm always thinking ahead for them. Yep. I can see a problem coming, and I'm driving, pushing. And I said, nobody ever complains if you're constantly pushing them.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. You treat them like athletes, they'll behave like athletes. Right?
They know, keep moving the line.
Yes, they know they're capable of more, and so do you. So what I'm always trying to do is speak to the potential of the person that I'm with. Yes. Right? I don't speak to you the way that you are. I speak to you the way that I think you can be. at the peak of your potential, because that's my job. My job is, as the coach, to see you as you could be and to treat you like you're already that.
Yes.
And if I do that and I do it well and I convince you,
Yes.
then humans, that's how world records get broken, is because athletes believe their coaches.
Correct.
When the coach says, actually, I think you can do this. I think you can break the 10-second mark. I think you can break the 2-meter mark. When they say that, yeah, I've seen this before. Man, you've got this great talent. Yeah, let's try this. Right. And then it's the coach's job to provide the tactics.
Yes.
Right. So which is why you can't have strict non-advisory coaching at the top level of any player.
Yes.
All the top surgeons in the world have coaches. All the top violin players have coaches. Right. And the coaches aren't asking them, how do you think you should practice? No. The coach says, here's 5 tactics you can try. I've done some reading in this. I've been following this person. Here's a tactic. We're going to draw something from this industry.
They believe it.
Yes.
And they have faith in the coach.
Yeah, exactly right. And so it's usually when the
And then
athlete,
you push them to start.
yeah,
Because somebody can be
Yeah,
educated and never start.
when the
That
athlete
fear of
believes the
change.
coach over their own critical narratives, that's when world records get broken.
Yes.
And it doesn't happen without a coach. You'll see it in every industry. That humans, because we are so intrinsically bent on being better together, the highest level of every player in every game has a coach.
Absolutely true.
Yeah,
In business, in everything.
absolutely.
One thing I picked up on and I loved, you said a lot of your contracts, although it's a high level, are done on handshakes and trust.
Oh yeah.
And everybody was like, and do you feel the room? They were like,
Yeah.
oh my God, did he just say that?
Yeah,
Right?
people find this really bizarre about me.
I love it.
I-
I say, is it a pleasure to pay me or a pain? Is it a pain? I walk.
Yeah.
Or I improve.
Yeah.
But it's that payment's got to be a pleasure. Otherwise, I haven't delivered.
Yeah. So I only sign contracts that are written by my clients. If it's required as a policy, then I just say. So I did this not so long ago. It was Atlantis Hotels. So I worked with their top 55 senior managers, and I did a training program for them.
Yes.
And they said, okay, it's kind of expensive. And I said, listen, let me de-risk it for you. Don't pay me. And they said, what do you mean? I said, I'll do it without a contract. On the last day, I'll give you the invoice. If you don't want to pay, don't pay. And they're like, well, how do we make that decision? I said, any metric you want. Thumbs up, 90% approval rating, a single SVP that says yes or no, any metric you want. You choose your metric. If you feel it's valuable, pay. If you don't feel it's valuable, don't pay.
Wow.
And so they're like, oh, that's great. So they took it on, right?
You take all the risks.
They were like, yeah, it was awesome. It was great. So, but the thing is, they have no idea what I can do. They haven't experienced me, and I do. I'm at an unfair advantage because
you've seen it before. You know what the future entails.
This is a replicable result. Yes. So I know what's going to happen, right? They just don't know. So I'm trying to make sure that it's easier for them than it is for me. So then about a week later, I get a call from the head of procurement, right? Saying, hey, we're just looking over your proposal, and we've noticed this like de-risking clause. Do you have a contract? I said, no, just send me anything you want and I'll sign it. It's like, but what about the terms? I said, any terms you want, I'll sign it. He said, really? I said, yeah. And I said, make sure that you know that I'm not going to invoice you until it's over. And when it's over, I'll send you an invoice and you can decide if you want to pay it. He's like, we've never done that before. I have no idea how to do that. Anyway, so it was a great education for them. But I still do not have contracts with my clients unless they themselves write it.
Me the same. And also, I feel contracts sometimes gives the prospect a reason not to go ahead.
Yeah.
Then they start looking into it, start questioning bullshit.
Yeah, there's a lack of trust there.
You want to achieve. I don't want to have these bullshit conversations with you.
Yeah. Look,
by the way, I take money up front.
Do you?
Yes. I don't do. I'll give it back if you're not happy.
Right.
Because I feel if they don't pay. By the way, my clients are SMEs.
Right.
When you're doing a large corporate, it's not coming out of their back pocket.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Because I feel if they don't pay attention.
Right. Yes, for smaller companies, that's true.
Smaller companies, they have to commit something. Then they listen, they take notes.
Yeah.
SMEs sign me up, and then before we start, half the people don't even bring a notepad. Oh, it's okay. I'll take notes on my phone. Oh,
yeah, they're clearly not expecting anything life-changing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
they're not paying.
I have loved my writing training programs like Business is Personal, because I wrote it to be something very unlike a leadership training program. I want to make sure that at the end of the program, they walk out going, what the hell was that?
Yeah, what happened to me?
Yeah, and I have people 3 years, 4 years after the training program sending me DMs on Instagram or on LinkedIn saying, "Hey, when I was in your program, I wrote this goal, and I just want to let you know I've graduated with my MBA, or I've just published my first book, or I've just started my company, or I've just bought this house. You know, I wrote these goals down when I was with you, and I've actually used that to focus the decision making in my life. And as a result of that, this is what's happening." They'll send me a picture, and I'm super proud of them. But there's not a week goes by that I don't get a message like that.
Yeah. And it makes you think what I'm doing is worthwhile.
Yeah, for me, like I said, I don't need the money and I don't need the influence. So what really, what I get really excited about
Helping
is
others to have more fulfillment and abundance.
I like collecting competencies. I enjoy that, and I like improving the quality of people's lives. And that's the goal that I have that I don't tell people about. Is I really want to improve the quality of 1 million lives a month, and I don't have a great smart metric for how to measure that. And I know that followers on social media is not satisfying to me. But yeah, I want to improve the quality of 1 million lives a month. And that's what I'm consistently working for.
So your business right now, you have coaches working for you?
No. I have a trade license with one employee on it. It's me, not even my staff. My staff doesn't work for me. They work with me.
Yes.
Well, each of my staff are independent contractors. They manage their own.
Do you have a coaching program when you teach other coaches how to make money?
I haven't, but I am writing one now, and I'm only writing it for the C-suite because there's so many differentiators between C and C-1 in terms of what's required of a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote a simple ebook called The Chief Executive Coach. It's like 30 pages, and it's got 7 differentiators
This
between
is one of the
C.
7 books that you've written.
This will be book number 8. It's coming out this year.
Okay.
And then Undistractable is book number 9. It's also coming out this year.
I'm sorry I haven't read your books yet, but I'm going to.
I'm judging you for that.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel offended. I feel offended.
I'm going to. You haven't even bloody liked me. Followed me on Instagram.
I'm so sorry. I'm really terrible with social media.
I'm just joking.
I am terrible
and
with social media.
He follows him and him, and my ego was like, so I was hurt. By the time you leave, we're gonna even.
Yes, I will fix that. I'm so sorry.
I'm
so
joking,
sorry.
Are your books written from a fictional point of view? Is it just educational?
No,
when I was writing my book, I was thinking, should it be fictional? Because there's a lot of true stuff in there, and I'm sharing my vulnerability. Should I do it as a fictional, like the monk who sold his Ferrari?
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's a very fictional, educational book. I don't rate it that amazing. I thought it was quite weak, but the title was amazing. So that's my. But then, should I write a autobiography?
Yeah.
How's yours written? Is
all of my stories are true. They are word for word true. Some of the names are changed, but the stories themselves
it's all
are
about your experiences.
100%. Yes. Yeah. So I follow in my writing a fairly simple system. Like for each chapter, there's a story, there's the science.
Conclusion.
And then there's the summary, story, science, summary.
Wow.
That's it. And how does this apply to you and your life? And but all of the stories are word for word actually my memories.
Do you have ghostwriters?
No, I tried that. I hired 3 different ghostwriters when I was trying to write Business is Personal. I fired all of them. I hated it.
It took me 7 years to write my book.
Yeah.
Like 9 different ghostwriters. Until I found the right publishing company, then I bought it.
Yeah, very good.
I bought the publishing company.
Right. Well, that's helpful.
You can do it for me. You can do it for other authors.
The problem is like I don't write the books for money. I don't care about the money.
Yeah, because authors don't even make much money, right?
Yeah, for me, it's not even really a marketing tool. It's a form of therapy and a form of art. I don't dance and I don't sing, but I write, and I love writing. And so all of my books are the product of my own irritation with the world as well, right? I write the book that I wanted to read, but wasn't there. So Spartan CEO is a book about the differentiators and drivers of high-performing executives versus mediocre performing executives. I was looking for it. I didn't see it. It wasn't on the shelf, so I wrote it.
Great.
Yeah, same with Business is Personal. I wanted to write a book about meaning at work that allowed people to tie in their personal vision, mission, and values of their personal life with the vision, mission, values of the organizations that they were working in, and using evolutionary psychology as the backbone for that. I looked for the book. It wasn't there, so I wrote it. And same with Love at Work.
Where can our listeners get these books?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anywhere books are sold. Yeah, and Love at Work was the same. It didn't make sense to me that the highest form of human connection was intentionally exiled from the place where we were spending the most amount of time with other humans. Right? We're with other humans at work every day, all day. We spend more time with our coworkers than we do with our own families.
Absolutely.
And yet we can't talk about love. That is ridiculous to me. We have, I can name dozens of books on empathy and leadership, belonging, shared values in organizations, psychological safety. We're talking about all that stuff.
Yes.
But the highest form of all of them is love, and we don't talk about that.
Because they think productivity stops if there's love.
No,
People go soft.
it's the opposite.
People go soft if there's love.
It's the opposite. When you look at I've done the research, right? So you'll see the research in there. Okay. If you read the book, you'll find the numbers. When people feel loved by the people that they're working with and the people that they're working for, they are more productive. They take 2 less leave days every year. They work an extra hour of discretionary effort every week on average, right? Which is an extra week's worth of work every year. Yes. They, even though they're willing to work for less money, we actually pay them more because they perform better. Because they actually love the people that they're with. Right. And like I said, the people will work hard for a leader that they fear, but they'll fight for a leader that they love, and they'll die for a leader that loves them. So as soon as they're convinced that you've got their back in everything, they'll give you everything. That's where your discretionary, that's where your margin is.
Napoleon was like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
People, his soldiers adored him.
Yeah, absolutely.
They loved him, and they took bullets for him, literally.
Absolutely. And I think this is where, like, Stephen M.R. Covey has become a friend of mine over the last couple of years.
The son of...
Yes, the son of... Yeah, that's right. So he wrote a book recently called Trust and Inspire. Okay. And I criticized him a little bit personally because he didn't go as far as love. But he recognized, like, when we were talking over lunch, he's like, we should have written that. We should have written love, right? But trust and inspire is the core of that relationship.
You even challenge your friends who are in the same industry.
Yes, absolutely.
And they
yeah.
admire that because you're telling them what they want to, what they have to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I was at Thinkers 50 in London in November of last year, and I met Amy Edmondson. Amy Edmondson is like the guru of psychological safety in management theory, right? And I asked her, I said, look, you've got so much material on psychological safety. Why are you not talking about the highest form of it?
Emotional love.
Yeah, love. Love is a shortcut. Love is a shortcut that says,
ultimately, everything is love. Ultimately, everything is about love, isn't it?
No,
Don't you think so? Don't you think the guy who wants to drive the Ferrari and show off, ultimately, he wants to be loved? Don't you think? I think ultimately, deep down, it's all about love and acceptance.
I don't know that that's why you would buy a Ferrari, but it may be. It's not completely divorced from it.
Yeah, I think somebody drives a Ferrari, they want to be seen as a leader, and they get love and affection, obviously in the wrong way.
Attention, maybe. Love is a shortcut for, I will provide for you and protect you when you're not looking. I will default to trust with you when I don't understand what you're saying. I will give you the constructive feedback or criticism that you need to hear.
I love you. Yeah.
Yes, that you need to hear that nobody else will dare to give you. Right? So you can imagine the quality of feedback goes up, the quality of trust goes up, the quality of respect, collaboration, shared values goes up when there is love. And all of our ancestors have given us that as a switch, right? They knew who loved them and who didn't, who they loved and who they didn't. And that was a shortcut for how to survive. It was a best practice for survival. And we've kicked that out of the boardroom. I've never been in a boardroom where people are saying, that was a great board meeting. I love you. I love you, Terry. I love you.
I say that. And then half the people who are not used to go, whoa, what kind of cult is this? Oh, is he going to abuse us in a minute?
It's bizarre, but honestly, that is...
No, I actually love you as a human being, right? I love you for your energy. I love you for the force that you have. Right?
That's right.
Just some people don't get it.
Absolutely, and I think we would do so much better if our boards were asking about love as a default question. Like, what is the most loving way that we can...
men do, is it? That's not one.
No, it's because it's a weakness, right? Yes. We've kicked that out.
It's seen as a weakness.
None of our ancestors saw love as a weakness. Brothers in arms, okay? Yes. Brothers on trading routes, brothers in the field. Love was a shortcut for, I've got your back when nobody's looking, and you've got mine. I will share my food with you when you need it, and you will share your food with me when I need it. Wow. Right? That was how your ancestors survived. And I think we would make so much more money if our boards of directors were asking, okay, what is the most loving way that we can steward the resources that are available to us? And if CEOs were asking, okay, what is the most loving way for me to lead my people? Right? If we had that as a default, like as a filter, rose-colored glasses on, and say, what is the most loving way for me to approach my boss or my...
You have to seek it the right way, right?
The
answers are there.
And
ask the right questions without fear.
Right. And what could go wrong? If that was the default you started with, rather than how can I get the most out of my people? If you started with the default of what is the most loving way for me to steward these incredible, unbelievable, creative humans.
What kind of a conversation you'll have then?
You just
Saying, how can I use and abuse them
Yes, exactly.
as much as possible?
Yeah, and you elevate the nature of the conversation, the nature of the relationship, and as a byproduct, you elevate the output. If people feel loved on the teams that they're in and the organizations that they're in, how can they not perform better? How?
And if they don't, it's their issue, right?
Well,
No, because some people have issues, right? They come into an organization where maybe they've been battered and abused, and they've put their trust in people, and then I find that it's not my job to turn around.
Right.
It isn't my job. Should it be? I don't know. We're going to question that.
But
if I'm running a company of 20 odd people that I love and we're all in synergy, if they don't fit in and they become a bad apple and they're not used to being loved and all this, what do? I've given them my best. And they'll say, hey, this love shit doesn't work here, I don't know what's he after. And they start rotting the other apples. What do you do?
Well, another one of the best practice survival techniques that our ancestors gave us, the tribe is more important than any member of the tribe, including the chief.
Yes. So everybody's replaceable.
Correct. Not replaceable, removable. Yes. And
yes,
all
you're
of
right.
Yes.
You don't have to replace.
Correct.
Remove.
You don't actually want to replace
Very
that
good.
person.
Very good. Yeah.
You want to remove them. But the tribe's survival, the tribe's health, the tribe's economics, the tribe's ability to survive the winter and share with each other, the tribe's culture is more important than any single member of the tribe. And every single one of our social structures in history proves this. We've always been willing to remove, right up to the level of chief, whoever is not fit with the culture and who is not serving the tribe.
Can I buy the book?
You can just have the book. I'll
give
give it to
read
you.
it tomorrow on the plane back.
You're very
I'll
welcome.
Give you some feedback.
I won't be offended if you don't read it, but my ego is big
I
enough that I
want to.
have to
I
leave it
love
with you
reading
now.
books.
So
I love reading books.
yeah, and I'm just glad to have you in the conversation.
Thank you. We should do this again.
I would love
I'm
to.
thinking,
Yeah,
I think this event's going to be successful. 27th. It's called the Gladiator Summit.
amazing.
And we'll probably have another one October, November. So I'll speak with you.
Yeah, that'd be
And
great.
maybe we can do another one together, but on stage with 500-600 people.
I would love to. It'd be so much fun. Can you imagine this on stage, like with 500
Love
people?
it, yeah.
That would be
And
brilliant.
they are the people who love our brand. They get the Gladiator that you wake up in the morning with a purpose,
Yeah,
right? To achieve something, and don't just wishy-washy play. See how it goes.
yeah.
Because 2,000 years ago, you would have got slaughtered.
Yeah, you're an apex predator. You're the
Correct.
most
You need to
dangerous, most
win.
intelligent animal on the
Yes.
planet. Run.
Yes.
Run hard. Do the hard things. Do them because they're
That's
hard.
what I want us to do on stage.
Yeah, do the hard things because they're hard and watch you grow. See how strong you can actually get.
In my summits, I throw people out.
Yeah,
So if you're not going to take notes, get the fuck out of here.
yeah. We don't.
Seriously, if you can't be bothered picking up a pen,
Yeah,
you're not going to be bothered doing anything tomorrow morning.
that's right. Yeah,
Right? So why are you wasting my time and everybody else's energy?
yeah. You're a distraction now. So.
Yeah. Or people who ask too many questions, don't give the microphone to anybody else.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to fix it. 200 people that I'm trying to fix one person. The other 199, like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
wasting-
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Do you know,
My
an
pleasure.
an hour and 15 minutes.
Has it? Dariush,
Feels
it's
so
been
good.
my honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm so glad we connected. Really am.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Gladiators, wow. We will see Dr. Corrie again. So thank you so much. I salute you.
Thank you. And I salute you
Thank
too.
you.
Thanks for being that gladiator.
Thank you very much. I'm going to read this book tomorrow.
It's yours.
Thank you.